At the beginning of January 2014, I met this guy on Omegle. He said his name was Valentine, but he liked to be called Connor. He lived in Texas, and he was my age. We chatted for a while, and right off the bat, he was telling me how ugly he was, and how his mother slapped him around, and how he hated his little brother because of how rude he was. Being the overly compassionate and sensitive person I am, I felt bad for him, and that day, we began dating. He told me he was a Satanist, and I didn't really care, since I firmly believe in choosing whatever religion you feel comfortable with. Honestly, I think I should have took that as a warning. We were together 3 months, and I got fed up with his bullshit when he told me he was driving to my state to see me, and then stood me up. In our first month, we were on a Skype call, and he was in a dark closet with a single lit black candle, and he was reading demonic spells off of a notebook. When I broke up with him, he didn't contact me for months, until one day, he called me. I was a little weirded out by it, but I answered with a polite hello. "What are you doing?" It seemed like a fairly nice question, so no flags were raised. I replied with, "Watching." He cut me off mid-sentence. "Cool. I miss you." I kinda rose a bit of an eyebrow at that, and just shook it off. "Oh, cool?" I didn't know how to respond. "You know, I ran away 5 times to go to your house, but my mom caught me every time. I still have the bear you sent me for Valentine's Day. Remember it? I still sleep with it, even though my cousin's dog tore it up." His voice was a bit manic. "Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry," I replied, a little creeped out. "I want to see you. I'll run away again for you." I was now on edge, and replied with a quick lie. "I don't think my new boyfriend would like that." Valentine got really quiet, and then hung up. I looked at my phone in confusion, and shrugged, and went back to watching what I was watching. Summer break was almost at an end now, and Valentine called me again. "Hey." He sounded weird. "Hey," I replied, preoccupied to really pay attention to him. "I need to tell you something. I'm going to do something bad," he whispered. I stopped what I was doing and listened to him. "What's wrong?" I asked. "When school starts again, I'm going to shoot my school up." I almost didn't believe him at first, so I asked what he meant. "Me and my friends have some guns ready. When school starts, we're walking up to my middle school, and we're going to kill everyone. I think Satan will be happy with my deeds." I immediately began talking him down, and at the same time, I was texting my mother everything he had said. After a half hour of talking him down, he got quiet and asked about my boyfriend. I lied and said that we had broken up, and Valentine seemed happy about it. He said that he wouldn't shoot anyone up, and then he hung up. My mother and I debated whether or not to call the police, and ended up not doing it. There was never any middle school shootings where I'm from, so I assume he never did it. Thankfully, ever since that last phone call, he's never contacted me again. A couple of years ago, I used to serve tables at a shitty steak joint in one of the Carolinas. I met a gentleman while working one Friday night. He had been sitting at the bar and eyeing me all evening. I'm a 20-something-year-old female. He was a good-looking older guy, so of course I strike up a conversation with him. There was something not quite right with him, but I couldn't exactly put my finger on it during the few hours he was there, talking to me as I ran drinks back and forth from the bar to my tables. He smiled a lot, but the smiles felt empty, and his eyes never crinkled like they do when someone genuinely smiles. At any rate, he asked me to meet up for a beer or two the following night after I got off work. Despite the little blinking warning light in my head, I agreed. I ended up meeting up with him the next night at a local bar that I frequented. He has a beer waiting for me when I walk up, which made me immediately uneasy. Not trying to be rude, I told him that it had been a rough day and that I was going to need something a little stronger. So I go order myself a whiskey sour and come back to where he was sitting. The little patio area outside of the bar was packed. He had managed to wrangle the little bench in the very back for us, so I had no choice but to sit as far as I could on the other side of the bench from him so that I didn't have to touch him. He seemed to notice that I was intentionally trying not to touch him, and he kept doing the man-spreading thing so that his leg would graze mine. I kept my body facing forward and not towards him, cradling my drink in towards my chest, and a cigarette in my hand on his side. I was hoping that he would get the message that I was sending obvious "don't touch me" signals, but nope. So we started talking. Everything's fairly normal. Maybe a half hour goes by. He gets up to get another beer. He's gone for a while. The bar was busy. He comes back with 2 more beers. He tells me the second one is mine, even though I didn't touch the first one. I told him that I'm good, still nursing the whiskey sour. I wanted to get silly, but not near this dude. Out of absolutely nowhere, he tells me, "You know, sometimes I have really bad anger problems." I'm kind of an asshole, and quite frankly, don't care if I offend this guy at this point, so I respond, "Ah, so that's what's wrong with you." To this he kinda cracks, and gets really quiet. We're sitting there in uncomfortable silence, and he breaks it by saying, "I can't believe you would say that to me." I apologize, saying that I'm in a bad mood, and that I probably just need to go home. He then begins to tell me that I can't take back what I said, that he just wants to love me, and that I won't let him. He then asks, how is he supposed to spend his life with me if I insult him? That he knows I'm sleeping with other men. How can I handle being a whore? I'm slack-jaw shocked at this, completely confused. I try to diffuse the situation a little by saying, "Look, I don't mean to offend you, but I've got to leave now, and I don't think it's a good idea for us to go on a second date." He gets quiet again, stands up, punches the fence that runs along the bench and separates the patio from the street really hard, and disappears inside. I just kinda keep sitting there, because everyone's staring at me. I smile, light up a cigarette, and keep hoping he's paid up and leaving. Nope. He comes back out and begins shouting about how I broke his heart. He then goes on to say, how dare I try to use him for his money? I'm kinda just watching him freak out, but on the inside, I'm actually terrified that this dude is going to hit me. I stand up, reach into my clutch, and pull out $10, give it to him, and thank him for the beers that I didn't drink, and then hightailed it to the bathroom. stalling for 15 minutes. I decide maybe that's enough for him to have gone away. I creep back outside and look around. He's not there. I go up to the bouncers. I'm very close with them from having been a regular at this bar, and asked them if the guy had left. They told me that they had to kick him out as soon as I left for the bathroom because he had started following me. They also told me that as they were dragging him out, he threatened to stab me for being a two-timing bitch. Needless to say, I didn't feel comfortable walking the 20 minutes to my house, so I stayed at the bar for a few hours and called up a close male friend to walk me home, just in case. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you can catch all of my future content. This channel didn't have a video yesterday, as I'm sure you noticed. I did release one on Urmaker, so if you haven't checked that out, I'll have a link on the screen, as well as in the description. It was also a viewer submission video, and I also released a video Saturday on that channel as well. So if you haven't subscribed over there already, you're really missing out. I have an idea on how to make it up for not having a video on this channel yesterday, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true.